good, everybody? Mark from Digital Dad. Thank you for joining me for another video. All right, so it's November 7th. We're looking at ES for the week. Starting off by looking at the weekly. Obviously, it's momentum. Momentum is slowing down. You feel me? Or the progress that we've been making is slowing down. Right? These candles are definitely starting to look a little nasty. Definitely starting to show a lot of indecision, especially last week. We're getting price movement, but we're not really picking a direction. We're not really trending. You feel me? We are moving up a little bit, but we're not really trending. So that's what we got to pay attention to, because we're trading in smaller movements. And if we're not picking a direction or having a clear trend to trade, it's going to start to be a little difficult to trade. You feel me? So I'm expecting this week to be hard. I'm expecting I'm going to have to, really pay attention to my risk and really pay attention to the trades that I'm taking, and really, really, really damn near second guess the trades that I'm placing. You feel me? If it looked like it's time to go long, it might actually be time to go short. If it looked like it's time to go short, it might actually be time to go long. And then not expecting the higher time frames to really show me any true commitment. If it's something that's setting up on the higher time frame, which 9 times out of 10 it probably won't. If price is just going up and down, we need a trend to start on the higher time frame to show us that there's a valid setup. And it'll probably be a bunch of up and down candles on like the 30-minute, right next to each other, engulfing each other. And a lot of sideways movement on a higher time frame. The real setups are probably going to come in on something like the 5-minute, probably. You feel me? We'll probably have to go down to the 5-minute and the 1-minute to catch setups. And then if there is something that forms on a higher time frame, might have to do the opposite of it. Might have to fade it. Anyway, I'm saying that because we are getting these type of candles. When you're getting these type of candles and it's moving up, you already know what it is. Wait for a pullback, take a long. You can wait for a pullback, take a long. If you get some type of short setup, take a short setup. This is a weekly candle. You might be moving down for a week. You can ride a downtrend until you get into a key area or buyer step in. Then the trend continues. But when you get these, you might have a whole another week of up and down all day. You feel me? It might last for one day. You might get one strong bullish trend, then come to the market the next day thinking that's going to continue, looking to take longs again, and then boom, it go down, and it's going to do that all week. So looking at the daily, that's what it is. We're already seeing candles telling us that we're going to see price action we don't like. And then as we go to the daily, it's the same thing confirming it. We got a fat range here. Right? And then I was looking for continuation because I saw we moved down and failed to move lower. So I'm like, okay, let's continue. Maybe the market's looking to make new all-time highs. We make new all-time highs. And whenever we make all-time highs, that's like the best momentum, the best strength you can get. You feel me? It's making an all-time high. So the fact we made an all-time high and then came back down into the range, it's showing me that there's no higher time frame continuation. There's no larger time frame commitment. And without commitment and trend on a higher time frame, that obviously means there must not be a lot of money flowing into moving price higher, right? Because you get higher time frame commitment, that means there's a lot of money committing to a direction, and I'm not seeing that. So, or at least that's how I perceive it as. I don't know what's actually going on. I'm just a dude. You feel me? I'm sitting in my bedroom right now. I don't know what's actually going on at the banks and what's actually going on with large money, but that's how I perceive the market. When you see something like a weekly, you feel me, a weekly candle, obviously this is a lot of buying. I'm sure it wasn't just some dude who risked $200 on a trade who was able to make these large candles. So the more commitment I see in the larger time frame, the more conviction it gives me. But yeah, so the daily, I'm kind of seeing this range form here. Let me know if I'm crazy, but this kind of looks like we're just standing in this box. Let me know if I'm crazy. You feel me? I can't necessarily do the same thing back here. We had a range here. We broke out of it, right? It came out that box. So here, I'm kind of seeing this looking like we in a box, right? And then the box could even be placed right here. That's why I slapped this resistance here, because we saw a couple times we tried to peek out of it and it didn't work. Right? So now we back at all-time highs. Pullback happened. I'd usually be like, oh yeah, bet, let's look for continuation, but I'm more leaning to look for a continuation to fail, right? Because we already made an attempt higher, and then especially on this push up, it was low volume, right? So it's not really, wasn't really a good breakout, in my opinion. Wasn't really a good breakout in my opinion. Even back here, right? This range, when we broke out of it, low volume here, we still got to move up. Yeah, sure, we still got to move up, but selling came in and then took us back down to the bottom of that range. So volume can always be a possible indicator, and then pushed it back down to the bottom of the range. So yeah, although I'm seeing long setups on the slower time frame, which is the 4 hour. I'm gonna get to that in a second. It's probably in my best interest to just stick to what I'm seeing and what I've been seeing happening all for a month, right? In August, we tried to push higher too, and then we pull back like 100 points, and then we did the same thing, tried to push higher at six, let's call it 6.5, and then dumped back down to 6.3, or let's call it 6.4, right? 30 points off from being 6.4. So another 100 point dump once we came back into these prices. So the fact that we got up here and didn't clearly show that it's time to get up on, you feel me? Get past that 6.5 is, I don't know, it just makes more sense to just follow the script instead of going against it. Now I do want to go against it because I'm seeing in a 4 hour. If I draw this out, it's this is basically the long. What the hell? This would basically be the long setup that I'm looking at. Basically. From the way I trade. This pivot here, we put in the low, we put in the high. This is the last high that was created before this last down move. Then we broke above it. Again, broke above it, mediocre volume. Decent move above it, cool. But if this was trending how it was supposed to, especially at all-time highs, buyers would have had no problem defending as we came back into 64.84.75. And we didn't really see that, especially with a confluence like, and I know it's a lower time frame, confluence. I know it's definitely a lower time frame confluence. What was it, a 1 hour? But there was also 1 hour demand there. So if there was a strong trend and strong conviction on a move like this where the 4 hour and the 1 hour has key levels right on top of each other, it should have been respected. But it wasn't respected, right? It wasn't respected, at least not immediately. If it breaks through the zone and fakes through the zone, or because it faked. Oh no, it didn't fake. It did fake. It did break both levels. It broke under this and it broke the demand. But when you see that, yeah, that's not trending. That's not clearly respecting levels. So when that happens, you're either gonna have to fade the move, or it's gonna cause a lot of confusion. Why is it gonna cause a lot of confusion? Because here we're seeing this, right, push back into that level, which we expect. We're like, okay, the trade is still intact, right? Our stop loss is down here. So the participants who are longing here, looking for the continuation now that they've seen this, they're still good, right? They're still good. And there might even be people who are entering as they see it move up and reclaim that level because they're saying, all right, bet this is still good, right? Or you got people who are ready to long that demand. After it broke, then you have people trying to short it. So if you broke the demand and the demand doesn't become supply, now you got people that's buying back above that. And then in conditions like these, what's the next thing to expect? Those people who try to buy above it thinking, all right, we cool, now we in the green. They're going to get dumped on again. You feel me? Because that's what the market has to start tricking people now in order to move how it wants to, because the conditions are so bad. And it's volatile and the volume is drying up, whatever the case may be. Like I said, I don't know what's really going on, but it starts getting tricky because it has to trick people in order to move now. At least that's how I perceive it. So if I go into next week still looking to long, when we've already considered the fact that we're possibly in a range, we came back into the range after an attempt at making a new all-time high, a failed attempt of holding above previous highs after making an all-time high, and then us knowing that the only higher time frame setup that we're seeing, when we can't trust high time frame setups in these conditions, can possibly dump 100 points and fail, it will be crazy for me to still say, oh, I'm gonna try to long this. You feel me? So even if I try to short it, take a loss, I'm fine with that. But what I don't want to do is sit here and try to long this thinking that I'm getting trend continuation after I've seen so many things that have not shown me any proof of any type of trend continuing, right? So any trend that I'm looking to continue, I should probably just fade it instead. I should definitely probably just fade it. So that's what I'm looking for. And we got a valid setup to understand where the market could possibly be heading. That's even better because, again, you don't got to catch the whole move. You just need an idea of where it could be heading. So with that being said, understanding that we're looking for it to fail somewhere around here. And then for the people who are in this, their stop losses are down here. So then we're looking for the market to go somewhere towards that direction. I don't care if it even get down there. I'm just saying once I get in, I need it to go in that direction. And there's a high likelihood of that happening, seeing that that's what's been happening for the last month. You feel me? So there's no point in looking for anything different to happen now, especially with all of the volume that came in on this sell-off, knowing that we just made all-time highs. People are buying the heck out of all-time highs and then not seeing any follow-through. So they're bought the heck out of all-time highs. Who knows where their stop losses are at? But of course, them getting stopped out has initiated a lot of selling in the market. And then we got a whole bunch of people who bought here and who tried to buy this demand. They might have got stopped out already, and then we're reclaiming both of those levels, which is initiating more buyers into the market. And if any of their stops get targeted, that's going to initiate even more selling. So I'm just looking for a move back down, right? I'm looking for a move back down. And it's okay to second guess myself because, like I said, if I'm just following my strategy, if I packaged my strategy and gave it to somebody and told them, you do this when you see this, then I'd be looking to take this long. It's the same long that we're looking at right now is the exact trade that they would be looking to take. But since I understand that that doesn't just work all the time, we're in a different environment. We have to apply a different way to utilize that strategy. You get what I'm saying now. Okay, we probably gonna end up having to short this at some point in time. You feel me? And then if it shoots long, cool. Proved this wrong. It proved this wrong. It's gonna be a trend, hopefully a trend that starts above all-time highs, and then we can ride that trend and make a lot more money than what it was us losing trying to take the short. You feel me? But now I'm knowing what it is this week, and now I'm looking for this setup to fail, right? And it's not that I'm looking for continuation. I'm looking for the opposite, actually. It's not that I'm looking for continuation to the downside. I'm actually looking for the bullish continuation to fail, right? So again, I know if or when and if we get down here, I'm knowing it's the same thing. I'm not looking for us to move any lower than here, right? Unless something proves me extremely wrong. And then let's look at the weekly. Again, yeah, on the weekly, I don't even have anywhere to target. This key level down here has already been tested, right? Already been tested and respected. So yeah, if we're putting in the range, probably putting in another top of the range here, this would probably be the bottom of the range as far as the major overall what we're looking at, right? If this is weakening here and it's really getting weak, then yeah, we could probably end up back down at the 62s. You feel me? So that's what I'm looking for. And then again, just looking for it to set up on the lower time frame, right? Not expecting to really see it on the 15th. You know what I mean? Not expecting to see no crazy follow through or no crazy setup on the 1 hour because that's requiring too much commitment. And if we do see some type of setup, expecting it to fail, right? Because it's literally only setting up to entice and to trap. It's only setting up to entice and to trap. So yeah. Oh, that's it. But I wanted to record this because, like I said, it'll look one way, and for so long I saw it. I'm seeing what I'm looking for, and I thought it was that. But a lot of times it don't be that. You'll see your setup, and even though you're seeing your setup, it's not playing out, or it's not going to play out in this environment. It's just that, like, if you execute this at the right time and at the right place, then it'll work. But sometimes it's not the right time and not the right place, and you'll still see it. So just understanding how to adapt in that way. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure y'all leave a like, make sure y'all subscribe, make sure y'all leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.